just as I'm praising Hunter for capitalizing on that disorganized engage in the top lane from RIT, they take a page out of the exact same book. Kayn goes in pretty much by himself, and Hunter was just so spread out in that fight, they could not do much.
Still, even though Kayn went in by himself and it didn't look good, imagine if that Kayn wasn't so far behind, because he was healing up a lot from just his base damages. So if that Kayn had been able to get a bit more early game, and, you know, that Echo hadn't fallen so far behind, I think that this team, that the composition that Hunt was trying to run really could have come to shine. But RAT played extremely well early on, shutting down the aggression that Hunt wanted to use and just stopping that team in their tracks. However, I think going into Game 2, Hunt shouldn't feel as bad because there were definitely signs of life, and they can likely not feel too bad about that.
Give that game 5, maybe 10 more minutes, Hunter would have had a serious chance to come back into it. You saw Jax working on picking up the Spear of Shojin, which they changed in the last patch to have the Essence Flare passive that they used to have on Essence Reaver, in addition to the health and AD from the Spear of Shojin, which made it fit champions like Jax so much better. And with his ult up and those reduced cooldowns and all of his abilities, Jax can be terrifying in the back lane.
That's very true. Voyboy definitely showed that out in the Twitch Rivals tournament just a week or two ago. We got to see a lot of Essence Reaver Jax, as he was very, very popular, specifically in top lane in Korea or higher elos. I really love to see champions that can show off their skill with their bruiser items, kind of like Riven and Jax showing off in these games. Although I don't think it's played as often, a lot of the snowbally top laners actually show a lot of strength in these less professional college level League of Legends matches. I do think that RIT is going to continue opting into tanks as we go into this series. Sagusa really likes playing those tanks, or at least he plays a lot of them. I'm not sure if he likes it or not. Aatrox did kind of fall off this patch, as well as a lot of the other top tier champions that we've seen in the top lane and the mid lane for the past few patches. But Solis has proved himself to be a worthy player of a lot of other champions that haven't been nerfed going into this update.
Yeah, Solis really, I would almost say, is the MVP of this match, because getting that early kill really set the pace, and then getting the other solo kill, and later in the game, he was just dishing out so much damage. Mask Zero picked up a lot of them, which is why he has a very nice 8-1 and 6 KDA. But Solis was setting up so many of those picks and doing really well of staying back and knowing not to try and dive too far deep. And we'll likely see another control aggressive pick from him, but with that performance, it seems like he can do no wrong and pick almost anything he wants.
And I think, as far as picks go, I think Hunter might want to go with the same game plan, because although it was really rough in the early game, towards the end of the game, we saw some, them really fighting. But I think what they need to change up is their bans. They need to really, really target again, like, kind of what worked for RAT in this game, which was that Zoe, which was that Nocturne. They were really facilitating plays everywhere and kind of oppressing Hunter at every turn.
I'd also like to see them move away from that Echo pick. I doubt they would pick it again, but especially depending on what RAT picks, they need something that can actually challenge early game and have a bit more insurance late game, because Echo's really strong if you get ahead, but if you don't, he's there as a unreliable stun bot, and sure, he could almost 100-0 Mask Zero, but that's a single target on a very squishy member who's right there. But then he would just get Zillion ulted, and it wouldn't matter. So we need something that can hopefully pack out more consistent damage, and I think that Hunt still has a very decent chance going to this game too.
For them as well, I think if they're going to go with the same kind of bot lane setup that they had, the really, really supposedly lane dominant Caitlyn and Morgana, then White would really need to give some attention to that bot lane, because in that last game, they didn't really, they really weren't capitalizing on the pressure that those picks were supposed to provide, because RIT, Stiletta, and Kizeme were doing an amazing job just holding their own, keeping like steady, keeping like a little bit ahead in CS throughout the entire laning phase, even when nothing was going on. Neither of the junglers were around them. They had no pressure.
And for a team that we initially thought would be very much the sit back, poke down, and then hope for a really explosive fight after they chipped everyone down, RAT was the one that was going on a lot of the offenses and really getting in Hunt's face, even though they had champions like the Zac and the Kayn. I actually think if White can play it a bit better, that Kayn was really doing a lot of work in those late game team fights, but he was just so far behind. So if they can figure out a way to accelerate that early game and get him more ahead, I think it's a pretty good pick they could go back to.
It was a bit questionable. Getting that transformation at 20 minutes is suboptimal to say the least. It honestly was a pretty large detriment to the side of Hunt, because before the transformation, Kayn is really only half, maybe 2/3 of a champion, and it limits his playmaking potential so much.
And we're going to be getting into the champion select here, so we'll see what adaptations come out for the side of Hunt and see what kind of game plan RAT wants to go with this game. The meta ban of Cassiopeia, probably going to see an Urgot, maybe Aatrox. The Yasuo from the side of RAT again. Very odd that they're finding this champion so scary right now.
I think they like to ban the Yasuo specifically because of the Zoe pick. Yasuo has been known to be extremely strong counter to Zoe. Although I don't think they're going to be able to get that Zoe back, and it was a very, very strong pick for RIT in the last game. I kind of expect it to be this very next ban by Hunt.
I really like the adaptation from Hunt, banning the Zilean, preventing Kizeme from getting this pick, because really, Kizeme was facilitating so many plays with the ult, with the slows, with the stuns, that not having that pick is a really good change for them, as well as we see the Zyra ban coming back out from RIT, not letting Baggage get this pick, which he may be able to dominate lane on.
Yeah, so...
Nope. Or no ban. I kind of expected a Zoe there, but I'm pretty sure Hunt was a little indecisive in their pick. Not sure if they're going to reset the champion select. I'm not sure if that's in the rules, but it looks like there's only going to be 2 bans for the first phase from Hunt.
And I'm pretty sure those are the same exact bans that RAT did last game. Seeming those are the champions they're most scared of, but RAT feels like a very adaptable and flexible team, and we're going to see the Zoe this time on the side of Hunt, and I think that's really good, because Dominating showed he wasn't scared to really play up and go for that aggressive play, and while Zoe can't do that as well as an Echo, she can still really deal out a lot of damage, especially when she gets that ult, throw out the bubble, and then just snipe you with the Q.
And picking up that Zoe does allow for this turnaround Urgot pick from RIT, which fills a great niche for Saigusa. It allows Saigusa to really pressure the top lane, as well as being incredibly beefy with an amazing mix of both damage and tankiness. I think this is the perfect pick for him.
And we saw that Urgot was banned last game from the side of Hunt, so that missed ban may be coming back to bite them. We don't know if that's what they would have banned, but Urgot's still a very powerful champion, and we're going to see the Lee Sin.
The Lee Sin!
Ooh! Alright, we got an exciting game on our hands, hopefully.
RIT Richie, Masked Zero's one-trick champion from 2 years ago, finally making an appearance in the College League of Legends scene. I've been looking forward to this pick for a long time, just so I can see this guy pull off some Q's my Q's.
And as I was saying before the champ select, adaptation from Hunter, stealing away both the Zoe and the Israel picks that put in so much work for RIT. But we see the Lee Sin get Masked Zero on an early game playmaker again, allowing him to really come online even earlier before the Nocturne. That's just scary to me.
Yeah, so this is a very different game plan on both sides, whereas last time we saw, Zoe, Zilean, and I believe Ezreal first round for RAT. We're seeing an Urgot, Lee Sin, and probably another mid lane pick. So this is them wanting to opt to fight a lot more and really get in their faces, whereas Hunt is going for the poke down and have one or two characters who go in and mess up while everyone else deals damage.
And this is an interesting Camille lock-in from Hunter. In this most recent patch, Camille Jungle got a heavy nerf to her clears, she is not allowed to stun camps anymore with the E. So this could likely be a top lane Camille as an answer to the Urgot, allowing her to like really put out some pressure and get some, get up on Saigusa and lane again.
We could see the very spicy Camille support. Very unlikely, but in the current state of League, moving from last season into Season 9, we've seen so much diversity in where champions can go. So the game is really a mixed bag until everyone's locked in.
Speaking of diversity in champions, I want to put some attention onto the Lucian pick, because in this very last update, he got his ability to go crit Lucian added back into the game. I'm not 100% sure exactly which one he'll go this game. I do believe it will just be what we saw last patch with the Bork Cleaver, as it's a lot stronger in laning phase, and I would say a little bit better into Ezreal specifically. Although crit Lucian is a lot stronger in the mid-late game.
And RAT's got a lot more early game focus with the Lee Sin. Urgot's the bit of a late game insurance. So we probably will see that Bork Cleaver come out. But if they want to opt for that safer mid game, then we might see that crit come out.
And one thing I wanted to touch on before I get to this LeBlanc pick is prior to the Essence Reaver being kind of a staple in Lucian used to go Bork or Youmuu's Cleaver into crit, which could really be what he's going for now, with the crit changes, making crit Lucian a lot more viable. As we see also a LeBlanc picked up for Solis. Let's talk about this one.
I love LeBlanc into just about any champion but Zoe. No, that's a lie. She's really bad into Galio, pretty bad into Swain, pretty bad into any tank comp. But there isn't really a tank for Hunt. I guess Tahm Kench is good for that sort of remove the champion that's going to be one-shot role. But LeBlanc is a very interesting pick here. I want to see how it plays into this Zoe.
Yeah, so again, a very different style from RIT this time. Solis again being put on that carry champion, getting wanting to dive in there, as we see the Kindred picked up. So actually, I think that's a really good adaptation against this RIT lineup, because while RIT is going to be trying to dive in with the Lee Sin, with the LeBlanc, throwing down that Lamb's Respite is going to be such a clutch field if White can throw it out the right time. And especially we have to worry about the interaction between Urgot and Kindred, because I believe if you throw the ult onto someone, you can still drag them out of the ult if they walk out and get them with the execute.
I really like the Tahm Kench and the Kindred pickups, providing so much safety for this very squishy team on the side of Hunt. And I really want to, in this game, we look at the early game, I really want to see Solis pressuring so much. He seemed downright oppressive last game, and I want to see a performance like that again.
I'm really excited for this Shen pick, because I think it rounds out the RIT lineup extremely well, because with Lee Sin and LeBlanc, when they go in, that Shen can be there to throw down the Stand United, jump in there, and really just start disrupting while they do damage. And we might see some cute little things with the Lee Sin kick into a taunt, but we'll have to see.
I wanna say this might be a little bit of a stretch. I think for Kizeme, the Zilean and the Shen are kind of fill a similar niche in what they want to do. They both want to throw the ultimate down, protect one target that's very valuable, and then after that ultimate, they want to get in there and CC. The main difference, obviously, Zilean trades the tankiness for the damage, for the damage. Shen trades the damage for the tankiness. And honestly, we go Shen, he can make so many plays, like you said, with the LeBlanc, with the Lee Sin, even with the Lucian if he decides to dash in.
And one last little bit I want to talk about with that Shen, with the Twilight Veil, I believe is the name of his W, because that negates auto attacks, and with Kindred, Camille, and Ezreal all having really powerful burst attacks, that could be a turning point, because if the Kindred is about to get that third stack of her E off, I believe the Twilight Veil will just cancel that, so that percent health damage, and we'll probably see some crit come out from the side of Kindred. Being able to negate that damage, at least briefly, will give a lot more window of opportunity for RIT to counterattack.
And like in addition to that, like you said with the stacking, that also works against the Tahm Kench, because Tahm Kench tries to stack up those hunger stacks with his autos, with his Q. But if someone's standing inside the shroud, he's not gonna be able to get those stacks for the eat or for the stun with the Q, and that's really hard on Tahm Kench for his playmaking in lane.
I'd like to point out one thing about this top lane matchup. Urgot into Camille is I would say a very Urgot favored matchup, although, and this is a very big although, Camille can quite easily get away from an Urgot. Although she does look to go in usually in her aggressive matchups top, she could just run away from the Urgot. Urgot wants the targets to stay right on top of him. Camille very easily ease just away towards a wall and gets out of there. Urgot cannot really snowball in this matchup. I think it's just going to be a farm lane.
Honestly, I think it's gonna kind of be a game of wits in between Saigusa and Prevail, because both the Urgot and the Camille have kind of points in time where they're severely hindered in their damage output. Like if Urgot uses the W to clear a wave, Camille can really go in for a nice trade. Or if Camille uses the Q for those last hits, get those secure on the minion kills for the CS, Urgot can really put some pressure down when their damage is severely reduced.
Yeah, we're talking about that top lane matchup, and I think it's going to be the one to watch for now, because with these junglers, if one of the top laners gets ahead, they are going to be a force to be reckoned with. If the Camille can feel free to jump into your backline, get the shield from her passive, and then throw down the ultimatum, that is an incredibly scary champion. And if Urgot gets fed enough and can just walk into your team, throw down the W, and not die, that is incredibly terrifying to deal with. And there's something I was going to mention, but we're going to be getting into game in just a moment.
I want to make one more point about the Urgot. As I was looking at the Tahm Kench and thinking, Tahm Kench is really great for the side of Hunter for that safety, but Urgot has so much percent health damage with the knees, and with the ultimate, if he can land it on Tahm Kench, can immediately just take away all that safety, and suddenly you're 4 squishy champions against a LeBlanc, a Lee Sin, and a Lucian.
So something we're probably going to see from the Camille is that W max. We see a lot of them do that in lane. Camille not running Comet, which is what you sometimes see, and maxing the W gives a lot more safety in lane, and Hunt maybe going to want to try and play safer than they were last game. So we'll see what the builds end up being as we're getting ready. Looking like pretty typical summoner, or keystone choices rather. The Electrocute Lee Sin going to be extremely powerful once he can start getting in there.
And you said the W max for the Camille was just a nice save option. Based on that last game, I don't know if Prevail wants to play like that. He's probably going to go for a Q max. He was always looking for those trades in lane against Saigusa in the last game when he was playing that Jax. So I'm really seeing, like, press the attack, Q max. He's probably going to be going all in, looking for that support from White and trying to gain an advantage in the top lane.
And with press the attack, that's actually a very good point, because press the attack applies that weakness to the target that's hit, and Camille and Kindred are both running it, so they can potentially, weaken 1 or 2 targets and really open up for Zoe and Ezreal to lay the damage into them.
We're seeing a fairly standard opening out of both teams, just fanning out across the river, making sure neither team gets those vision on the jungle starts or just kind of any sort of invade. This just allows them to deny pretty much any opportunity by both teams.
We're likely going to see opposite buff starts, with Lee Sin wanting to go for that red, which makes sense since he doesn't really need the blue buff for any mana regen. So that's probably a good early pick. And we might see some level 2 ganks with the red buff. We'll have to see how far Soulless wants to push or let himself be pushed in. Unlikely we'll see an early bot lane gank, but it's definitely a possibility.
I would really be excited if we got a level 2 gank, but I'm not sure that will be just the kind of the game plan from either team. In the top lane, it could happen. Lee Sin's right around here. Urgot and Lee Sin have very much damage. Urgot starting the Q for that slow. Lee Sin having the Q and the E. But we see some trading in the top lane. Prevail is putting the damage to Saigusa already.
Very dominant trade by Prevail. He just sat in the tri-bush, waited for the Urgot to come as he expected Lee Sin to start on the red buff. He saw that in the early game fan out. But I'm surprised the Camille would sit there and wait, knowing the Lee Sin is topside, to follow up in a fight if it happened right there.
Yeah.
Lee Sin might just look to gank immediately after taking those Krugs. Kindred is on the Scuttle Crab though, so we might have a small skirmish. No, Lee Sin's going to opt out of that. Fight going on in the bot lane though. Early game pressure from the Lucian definitely coming out. Lots of health traded down. Lee Sin ganking mid. Let's see if Masero can pull this off. Gets the flash and misses the Q. Still a successful gank by Masero though.
Yeah, no, burning an early flash against a Zoe who doesn't have a very bold flash in, but it's going to pay off as Solis is going to get another solo kill.
That looked like a misclick at first, but he decides to run with it, gets his W directly on top of the Zoe, secures the kill with a good old chain and sigil malice.
We see that really early LeBlanc damage coming out. I agree with you. It looks like it was almost a misclick, and I thought that was going to go really poorly. But because Masked Zero came in and burned the flash, Zoe doesn't have anything that she can do to get away from that. She has Ignite, but what's that going to do? And I think that was... If it was intentional, it was good awareness. Certainly took us by surprise, so likely took Dominating by surprise. And if it wasn't intentional, then that was a very good capitalization from Solis.
Hey man, if you don't know what you're doing, then how are they supposed to know what you're doing?
Exactly.
A little bit of big brain strats coming out of Solis right there.
RIT is, for the most part, doing exactly what I was saying they want to do all over the map. They're getting pressure in the bot lane, pressure in the mid lane. The jungle is doing very well for itself, and they could be getting off to an early lead.
We are seeing the top lane be a little bit of a saving grace right now from Hunt. This Camille being extremely powerful, just really getting in there and messing with Urgot. As Kindred is up there, but not exactly the best dive without the Spirit's Refuge, or without the Lamb's Respite, as we see more trading going down the bot lane, and this Lucian Shen really being a big bully already.
This is actually going to be another mid lane gank as we see Mass Zero coming in from the bot side river. He's just going Ward Hop on top of the Zoe, get the slow. This should be just an easy secured kill right there as the Q lands. Good Sonic Wave by Mass Zero. Second kill over to RIT.
This is great capitalization on that early flash blown from Dominating. Zoe deals a lot of damage, but not the most mobile, at least until she gets level 6, and even then she can only go so far before she has to rubber band back. So really good heads up by Mask Zero.
It's a great punish by Mask Zero, capitalizing on, like you said, the flash blown earlier, as well as Solis, who has already been gaining himself a lead in this lane. They're trying to pull the similar game plan as the last game, get Solis ahead, catapult him to critical mass so he can just take over the map.
Yeah, we see the one teleport on the side of RAT. I don't remember seeing many TP plays last game, but Prevail gonna jump in, and the flash has to be one from Saigusa, so we've seen some flashes be capitalized on already. We'll see if Hunt can do that against RIT, but Urgot is a somewhat tanky champion, so he'll go back, maybe TP back to lane, and with that spellbook, he'll probably be able to switch out for maybe a heal or ghost.
We're going to get a fight here as Masero is in the river bush. He takes out the Kindred before the gank can even happen. And RIT's bot lane takes an aggressive play and kills the Tahm Kench.
And that was an incredibly questionable flash. It was our camera, but we saw the baggage flash before we really even saw the fight go down. He may have been trying to flash devour his teammate, but it didn't really get anything, and ended up just looking a bit of a foolish play as Solis tries for some damage. With the level 6, Zoe can be much more of a pest, but Solus not afraid to try and fight back.
Now we're getting to see a lot of this early game mastery by MaskZero, as he already has 4 takedowns on the board, securing 2 kills for his team as well as 2 assists to get his laners ahead. He just knows the champion's limit so well, and we're actually going to see perhaps another gank in the mid lane as a Q. Sonic Wave lands onto the Zoe, gets her very low, and Kindred dies to the damage of LeBlanc. Prevail actually teleports down to the fight and looks to kill off MaskZero, but MaskZero kicks away Prevail and then lands a Sonic Wave due to the knockback. Beautiful stuff by MaskZero, and an excellent kick followed by a Q. 2 kills secured by RIT in that fight after what looked like a failed gank.
MaskZero just looks like he's hard smurfing in this game. We see Solus going for a trade, but nothing will come of that. MaskZero making the plays happen, getting that Zoe low, facilitating the kill on Kindred, cleaning up the Zoe, and denying the Camille engage all in the same fight. That was beautiful.
No, he actually missed it at some point, but Solus was able to solo kill out the Zoe. I think it was possibly during the bot lane gank that we saw a little bit earlier, in which RIT got 2 kills with MaskZero picking up the kill onto Kindred. I believe Stiletta picking up the other kill onto the Tahm Kench. I think during that time, Solus was able to pull out his damage and just secure a kill onto the Zoe. A little bit of out of vision, but we can see by that aggression and those solo kills that RIT is looking to play high macro.
Yeah, and we are seeing a bit of fighting down here in the bot lane. Not much going to come out of it. LeBlanc has built the Dark Seal already with 3 stacks. It's unlikely we will see a Medjay's come out, but that would be very fun, and if RIT can continue this aggression, it probably wouldn't be too bad of a pick, because Solus is just demonstrating how skilled of a player he is at knowing his cooldowns, knowing when to go in, and just mastery of many different champions.
At this point in the game, I want to see Stiletta and Kazeme turn up the heat. Israel's sitting on a tier, a Ruby Crystal, and a longsword. Stiletta's got a cutlass and 2 daggers for himself. This is an amazingly powerful Lucian, and I want to see some heat as we see a fight up in the top river.
MaskZero does kick the Kindred out of range, and Prevail isn't available to land his ulti there quite yet. He didn't have the range. MaskZero is just going to be able to flash out of there, but Kazeme picks another engage back in onto the Camille as he lands the taunt. More damage coming out onto the jungler from RIT. But 3 people so close to dying in their Lamb's Respite. MaskZero goes down due to the Ezreal ultimate. A beautiful flash taunt landing onto Zoe, but no kill secured quite yet. Nope, just goes over to Solus with the flash distortion. Beautiful aggressive fight. A little bit of over-aggressive play by MaskZero there.
Yeah, I really want to... There was a lot of things that happened in that fight, because it initially looked like a bit of miscommunication from RIT, because MaskZero flashed over the wall as soon as the Stand United came down, so it looked a bit questionable, but there was a beautiful taunt into the Spirit's Refuge that blocked a lot of damage, and we saw that Lamb's Respite come down, and the interaction I was mentioning earlier with the Fear Beyond Death, and Radiating just being executed, no damage going to come, or rather, no gold being taken from that. But back to that fight, when White threw down his Lamb's Respite, Saigusa had gotten the pull and was doing the second part of his R on Prevail, but because he was still inside of the Lamb's Respite, Prevail ended up surviving, only to die moments later to the LeBlanc.
And there were so many amazing plays out of both teams that fight. We see in a second MaskZero invading.
Ooh, he lands a Sonic Wave and secures the kill under the turret. Beautiful solo kill by MaskZero in the enemy, in between enemy turrets.
Back to that last team fight, we saw the Israel snipe MaskZero.
He lands another Sonic Wave and pulls off the Lee Sin insect kick. Although he dies, he does get a kill back to his mid laner, so I would call... I'm not sure if that's worth, because I don't think that was a shutdown, but it was a kill over to the mid laner. It's going to put Solus even farther ahead of the Zoe already. He was already 4 kills ahead. It was up in CS as well, with more roam plays coming out, but now he's just even further ahead.
Mass Zero is making just too many plays across the map for me to get a point. He is actually everywhere.
He is smurfing.
Making plays.
Hard smurfing.
Yeah. They make the joke in the LCS about Levi hard smurfing. In this game, it's Mass Zero on the same role.
This could be actually a kill for Lucian here. If he plays a little bit more aggressively, but he chooses not to. Kindred making a questionable roam into the jungle as Lee Sin kills him again. Mass Zero getting it overextension a little bit, but Sagusa teleports in, and this is going to be a kill onto Prevail, possibly. Yep, there it is. Just a little E out by the Lucian is going to be able to get the damage out. Stiletto picking up 2 kills in the bot lane. Excellent 2v2. I lost my voice a little bit there, but we get back into it. RIT is looking to pick up this turret in the bot lane, as there's going to be nobody available to roam down there and stop the turret taking from happening.
That was an excellent play out of Stiletto in the fight in the bot lane. After Baggage ignited him, Stiletto flashed into the bush as the ignite was wearing off to deny that vision and keep radiating from getting any more damage. He was very close to death, and that flash just saved his life. We see them coming back to mid lane. This is likely a death for Kazeme.
Very questionable taunt back in. I'm not sure if that was just a miscommunication. Stiletto was already very low on health and wouldn't have been able to take that fight. There's going to be another fight mid. Huge damage coming out from the double distortion from Solus. Mass Zero is just going to get the easy force out on the ulti, and Solus picks up the kill with a Sigil of Malice.
RIT has so much room to do whatever they want in this game. They are doing some poor calls, Kazeme overstaying, a bit of miscommunication at points, but every member on RIT is doing so incredibly well. Right now, it almost seems like Solus can do no wrong, as we see Mass Zero try to get some damage into Prevail. Not really going to get much. Camille, pretty slippery. Going to try and chase, and a lot of surprising damage coming out from that Lee Sin. Already on the Warrior.
He's going to fall.
Land another Q. We might see the
He's still
Warthog.
going to fall to the distortion from Solus as he roamed into the jungle as well. Zoe nowhere to be seen as she just died in the mid lane very soon before that. You know, Blue side actually does pick up the dragon as a trade back for that play in the top lane by Mass Zero. A nice trade back, but they still have miles to come. 6,000 gold behind already at 14 minutes.
LeBlanc is one of the most terrifying champions when she gets ahead, because once she distortions in, whatever ability she decides to use her ultimate on is going to blow you up, and we are seeing Solus seem so comfortable on this champion. Sure, there have been some close calls, and he has done really well cleaning up kills, but we're going to see him dive in right now, and the sleep is going to save Dominating's life. But having to blow Flash to get out, for Solus not really having to do anything, he just can't do wrong.
RIT picks up the Rift Herald. That's just one more boon to add to their collection. One more thing to just throw in the face of Hunter. Lucian putting on some major damage in the bot lane as they're going to pick up that tower.
First turret for bot lane without even using a gank, and Mass Zero is actually going to take a fight. Beautiful kickback over to Solus. It's going to be a kill picked up for Mass Zero. Or, sorry, for Solus, but excellent play right there. Communication on point for RIT. Kazeme ulting onto Mass Zero, but he dies a little bit too fast. Early game Kindred damage, securing that kill.
And that's something I was wanting to say. We haven't seen White able to do much in this game, but he's sitting at, you know, same-ish level, but is going to die to the Urgot ultimate as Solus goes in and uses the distortion back with the chain to really cleanly finish out the kill. But what I was saying is White actually has decent items right now. We haven't seen him able to do much, but he's a relatively scary champion, as that Rift Herald's going to get a lot of damage onto that tier 2 turret in the top lane, and RT is going to get both of those turrets now.
I love watching the dynamic duo of Solus and Mass Zero. Their communication is flawless. They're always on the same page, backing each other up for all of these plays, diving deep into the jungle, making everything work together. We're seeing RIT pressure all over the map. Hunter is crumbling.
That is very true, because I actually missed a taunt flash right there under the turret. It would have secured a kill onto the Tahm Kench if he did land it, but all it really does is force him out of lane, and RIT is actually going to get more turret pressure here as another fight goes on in the top lane, forcing out Lamb's Respite, but it does actually save his life with the hop over the wall. Nice stuff by White to save his flash and get out alive at a very, very scary situation.
A bit of that was probably RIT not wanting to overextend too much. Solus could have gone over, probably flashed and gotten the kill, but RIT is leagues ahead, almost a 10k gold lead at 15 or 17 minutes. So they are so comfortable right now, and they're probably just going to want to try and continue that aggression and really just ride it into an easy victory. As we see that dynamic duo again deleted in what, 2 seconds? What do you do against that?
Masahiro had to force that play as fast as possible as the sleep landed onto him. He still gets the kick in perfect position to line up Solus for another kill. 10-0-2 on the LeBlanc. An excellent showing from him. He might not be on par for CS, but it doesn't matter when you've got 10 kills worth of gold already.
And you said that this is his main champion, and the absolute comfort is showing. A lot of people would be scared. Oh gosh, I got slept by a Zoe and I have about 2 seconds to act. What am I going to do? As Solus just deletes White from the game.
Another double distortion. Huge, huge damage by Solus. At this point in the game, LeBlanc shouldn't be doing this much, but with 10 kills and already the 34, I believe, Magic Pen, she could just explode just about anybody without being punished at all. She could just zip back. No worries.
I think at this point, Solus and Masahiro are doing their best to just crack the mental of Hunter. They're just taking every member one by one and deleting them. And this has got to be crushing. 1-9-1 you see in the mid lane, 2-6-3 in the jungle, 1-4-2 in the top lane. This is a bloodbath.
The thing is, you can't even say Hunter are playing poorly, because they've had some really nice plays, especially with that fight in the top lane. But RAT just so far ahead that there's nothing you can do. Radiating got deleted as Kazeme gets knocked in with the blast cone, but the bag just gonna die, and RAT just gonna pressure this mid tower.
It's an unfortunate fight for Hunt. They can't really secure any kills because they're just so far behind and don't have the necessary damage. Although earlier, White was able to kill Masahiro from a good amount of health, the damage isn't going to help him this far into the game. Lance Respite actually saves his life, but he gets pulled out by the Urgot as we discussed about in Champions Select, and another kill is going to go as Zoe falls yet again.
This is brutal. Honestly, if you're for the side of Hunter, this is just very, very disappointing. See, the Infernal Drake's up for, or sorry, not the Infernal Drake, the Cloud Drake, I was misled, is up now. Baron's coming up in 20 seconds. Hunter's trying to get something back in the top lane, but I don't know what they can do at this point.
RIT is staying a little bit far up. I think they're going to reset here before they go for more. They don't have really any objective to go for in the top lane as the inhibitor has already fallen. They're just going to clear some wards out, potentially look for yet another 20-minute Baron. At this point, I expect RIT to make almost the exact same plan as they had for the last game in closing it out. Maybe not another overstay, a little bit greedy KDA pet and the stat sort of play style. They're going to look to have a nice clean closing on this series. They don't have all 11 turrets like they had previously, but they do have 8, and that's definitely going to be enough for them to get both the objective in the top side and the bot side. Cloud Drake, probably going to be a Sagusa solo, and then Baron with the rest of the team focusing on that area.
Yeah, there's just not a lot that Hunt could do to try and get back into this game. Baron is up, but with how well RIT has been doing at grouping together and aggressing everywhere across the map, they couldn't even get close before they would get deleted by RIT. We're not going to see the Drake picked up right now, but the Cloud Drake isn't going to do much for RIT as they get started onto the Baron.
RIT is going for just a standard procedure to end the game. Get this Baron, push into the base. If Hunter tries to contest, they die. Plain and simple. RIT does way too much damage to them to handle, and they can't do anything about it at this point.
And Hunt's not even going to contest. They threw out the Ezreal ult to maybe hope for a steal. But even if they'd gotten it, I don't think it would have been enough to get them back into the game. It would have definitely been a nice relief valve to that pressure. But with Baron, we're probably going to see RIT close out this game in another couple minutes.
Now, I really want to highlight RIT's ability to play two different play styles. We talked about in the last game, they played a very poke-heavy comp and played extremely aggressively. Now they're moving to just no poke at all across the entire team and being able to play even more aggressively. I think this comp highlights their style of play a lot more, as there's actually going to be a fight in the bot lane. I'm not sure why Sagusa is looking to go out on this one, but Mass Zero re-engages on the fight with a beautiful Dragon's Rage. Sagusa pulls out yet again with his Urgot ultimate, Fear Beyond Death. And Solus is just taking the base already. Amazing amount of damage, beautiful burst, it just deleted, dominating from the map. Yeah, he didn't even need it. He just uses 2 Sigils of Malice with his chain and gets the kill. This is going to be game for RIT as Massier is looking for yet another kill. Can't secure it because of Tahm Kench, but it doesn't matter. RIT picking up this game 2. This is going to be the series 3-0 for them on the season. And the Superman's kind of dancing out in the background. Beautiful game.
I didn't know it could happen, but RIT took that even more convincingly than they did the first game. In the first game, Hunter was showing signs of life there at the end, but at this point, they just rolled over and died. Maybe not of their own will, but they were pretty much forced to.
Yeah, absolutely commanding performance, and you really have to highlight that duo of Solus and Masked Zero. They were hanging by each other basically the whole game, and anyone that they set their eyes on was gone in approximately 2 to 3 seconds. The early game was really good between them. Blowing the flash early, which really set the pace of allowing Solus to get the solo kill, and then for Mass Zero to come back in and secure another kill. And then we didn't see, Solus get another kill. So, amazing play by the jungler. And it really shows how imperative a good jungler is and how well they can set up the map.
And another thing I want to mention, because we've been talking about Solus and Mass Zero a lot during this game, but we look at the top lane and the bot lane. Saigusa was deathless. Kizeme had 1 death. Stiletta had 0. They were just performing immaculately. Saigusa taking up all the pressure. Stiletta and Kizeme not taking their foot off of Radiating and Baggage's necks. They were just oppressing them the whole game. And although they were not, per se, the stars of this show, they held up their own very well and just made it easy for Mass Zero and the Solus to take over and do precisely whatever they wanted.
Yeah, truly just a masterclass in being comfortable on a champion. Everyone on our